you, Dazzle.
Oh, snap. We are live with another episode of Off the Wall. New and improved, upgraded, everything you could possibly imagine. And we have two guests today, Blood Dust and Loud Munch. How you guys doing, fellas?
What's happening, Mr. Dazzle? It's my bad. To the fair and intelligent viewers of Dazzle stream, I take full responsibility and credit for this show getting off to its late start. There was a number of other things that went down.
Right.
But if I just was not dumb and could figure out why my Discord doesn't work, we'd be fine.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of one thing after another. It was like all my fault, but I'll take like 80% of the blame. I'll take 80% of the blame.
I'll tell you what, it is funny. We kind of created a Frankenstein of like technical difficulties of here. Like we have the Xbox. I have the Xbox companion app on the desktop running, and we got the Discord video. We got so many things, but we made it work. We made it happen. It's going on, and we're live. And today we're going to be talking about a lot of things because this is going to be a new format of Off the Wall. I've been wanting to change it up a little bit and do other things. I'm still going to do one-on-one interviews with people, and I'm still excited about doing that. But I wanted to change it a little bit because I felt like we needed something where, we could talk about certain topics, especially like if, we have the roll queue going on, which is today's topic is the roll queue beta. And, I think this is going to be a good perspective from both of you having, Blood and Loud here talk about like their perspective on what the roll queue means. We have a lot to say. I know there's a lot to say about this. So let's talk about everything real quick. So let's go in a very vague sense for each of you. Let's start with you, Blood. Let's just tell us your overall view of roll queue so far as a change to Overwatch on console.
Roll queue is it's a very good idea, but I think it's a little too late for it. I don't know. It's gonna like splits the player base too much, and even on like PC, like a lot of people like quit or whatever, and like all the DPS players are getting long queues. Tanks are getting quick queues, but like DPS players can't find games. And I'm on console on a 4300 account, and I can't find games. Playing at times where I would normally get games in like 5 minutes. So that's one stress of it, but if they were to iron that out, I think it'd be a lot better. Which I wish they would. I don't know if they're going to do it for sure, but that's my view on it. The first few days was pretty good until we started getting into this meta that we're starting to seep into.
Right.
But, yeah, other than that, I think it's a good idea. It's just poorly executed right now.
Right.
Shields isn't your jam, Blood?
No, I
Come
love
on,
Double
man.
Barrier. I love playing fucking cue ball and robot bitch every game. It's so much fun.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Throwing
So,
balls at barriers.
We'll talk about the meta too, because I think that's specific. Obviously, everybody's talking about Shield Watch. Everything in the chat says Shield Watch. But before we get into like the overall meta, right? Let's just get your perspective, Loud, about the what you think about roll queue as it is so far.
So, for me, roll queue, I kind of feel the same way Blood does. Is that like my only kind of real problem with roll queue is that it's coming a little too late. Like as soon as GOATs, like as soon as 3-3 became like the thing, and like the way it was being played, just like how powerful it was at like any elo, but particularly at like like top 500 GM play. In my mind, like I knew from like as soon as it became like the thing, I was like the only way they're gonna stop it is if they force 2-2-2. Or like I think in my mind I didn't know it was gonna be like Rollock at the time, but like I was like they can nerf each of those characters. They'll just like people will just keep like slightly changing the way 3-3's played. But I knew it was so powerful. The only way they're gonna do it, people to like scuff it out, is Rollock. And I think they knew it, and I think I really don't think they wanted to do it. But like I think they had like a scale, and they were like hatred for goats, hatred for Rollock, and like they eventually like came up that they hate Rollock more than they hate, or excuse me, they hate goats more than they hate Rollock. So they rolled it out, but yeah, it's like Blood said, it just feels too late. And like I personally, as a support player, I've enjoyed it. I don't enjoy where the game's at right now. Like my biggest problem with Overwatch um is more the meta than the actual role lock. As a support player, role lock's been kind of nice. You know, it's happened to everybody. It hasn't been exclusive to me. I've had support mains queue up for DPS that I get on my team. Oh my god.
Right.
Like here we go. Like we got so and he's playing Soldier, Reaper, Mei, like, you know, easy DPS and still underperforming on them. It's frustrating, but also it's happening on the same side. I know that they have a support main on a Smurf who's playing DPS or something like that, so it's
Right.
frustrating when you pull them on your team, and maybe not in that one game. You might be go against a support main that's on DPS, but like I have won and lost games because of that, which isn't necessarily like that. I understand everyone's frustration, but I think my two biggest problems with Roblox was one, it's too late. Two, I don't think I think the beta was not maybe the way to do it. Like the PTR was on for a month and then they did the beta for 2 weeks. That's 6 weeks, right? Like that's a lot of time. That's a lot of information. I don't know why they didn't do. If they were gonna do a beta, they should have done like an old off season's worth of time. They should have done like a 72-hour grace period. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That should have been our beta. There should have been no SR. There should have been no MMR. There should have just been, hey, it's off season, but it's role lock. We encourage you to play, so we're gonna still give you competitive points and loot boxes or whatever. But they shouldn't have mixed SR in with it. You know what I mean? So, because there's so much confusion. People at first were like, it doesn't matter, MMR doesn't matter, and then like 3 days ago they came out like, hey, just kidding, it totally matters. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
the great. I like
So
to
people
call
are
it the
like, what
great
the fuck?
debate. Yeah, right. And okay,
Great
so
debate.
that's a good segue because I feel like the debate was kind of widespread, right? Like for a long time, they kind of I know there was people who were mentioning, oh well, they said that it didn't count, but in reality, when they were saying it didn't count, there were some devs that said, oh, it doesn't count for next season or for MMR. And there were some people who were like, oh, it doesn't count just as far as your career profile stats go. That doesn't count.
Yes.
That'll go away.
Yes.
And that is what they meant, but they didn't communicate
Yeah.
that well enough for people to actually understand
No.
that what it means is it does count. Now,
Yeah.
for me, for my money,
Yeah.
like from the beginning, I always thought that it would, because why else? Why would you do a beta if not to establish some sort of MMR for the next season? But your thoughts on how that impacted the queues for this next season coming up? Because I mean, we kind of have a beta that for a lot of people was kind of a throwaway season. They were just, oh, this doesn't matter, so I'm gonna do whatever I want. So let's start with you,
Yeah.
Blood. What do you think that impact is going to be like for this next season coming up?
Like the beta mattering?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people were like, oh, it doesn't matter. And then now that it matters, people are like, oh, shit, it matters now. What are we going to do for next season?
Like, I mean, I don't think much is gonna change other than like the people that like threw down, they're gonna have to climb up, which they will.
Right.
Like the good players, they know who they are, that have like thrown all their games or whatever.
Right.
They're gonna climb back up. It's not a big deal for them. But as for like the support players or like the tank players playing roles that they're not good at, they will probably fall down a little bit. But the other thing with that is a lot of people got boosted MMR. I've had so many people tell me, they're like, "Oh yeah, I was like low masters last season, but I won 3 out of my 5 placements, and now I'm 3,800." Like, no, it's stupid. Like, why are we boosting those people that high when they clearly don't belong up there?
Right.
Got people that were diamond last season, and now they're like 4,100 because they placed like 400 or 500 SR above where they finished.
Right, the inflated,
It's just-
the inflated MMR on different, specifically on different roles, right? Like for people who are like, let's say a support player who they're in GM or whatever, and they start playing DPS or tank because they never really played those roles. Now they play those roles, and their MMR is the same as their support, which is not accurate
Like-
considering that they're not that
Yeah.
great at that role, right?
Like, for example, my account, I forgot what account it was, but I think it was like Hot Dog Water. I did the placements on it, and it was 4,400 last season with like an 80 win rate, and I went like 2 and 3, and I played pretty bad in all my games. And I placed like 10 SR off my career peak, which is like 4567. I placed like 4550, like 4553. And like, why? Like I should have placed lower, but it's inflating me for some
Right.
reason. It's stupid.
Right, and
Like I don't know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's obviously a big issue, right? I think the issue is that a lot of people, or some people, are getting their SRs inflated. Personally, mine I think was pretty accurate. I mean, I think I placed platinum DPS, diamond main tank, and master support, which is what I expected it to be, and that's exactly what I got. But that's also because I did play those roles during the entire time that I played Overwatch. Is I also played DPS, so they took my MMR for that. But Loud, what about you? What do you think this impact is going to be like for that big debate that happened for people? You know, do you share Loud's sentiment? Is it going to be like people are gonna? Is it going to balance out again? What do you think is the impact?
Oh man, I think honestly, I think the impact, like I think, like it's just one more like something. It's like one more thing for the player base to be frustrated about. It's like it's like Overwatch. It's like the Dick Van Dyke Show. You know what I mean? Where he's like tripping over the coffee table and he like, gets back up and he like leans on like the ironing board and he gets like smacked with the iron and then he like dazes and like trips over the oven or like whatever. You know,
Right.
that's like Overwatch and like everything they do.
Right.
Everything they do. Like they'll nerf the fuck out of this meta, and then this meta gets crazy buffed, and then everyone hates it, and they're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and then they'll like nerf the fuck out of this shit, and then they'll buff the shit out of this shit, and then people are like, well, what the fuck is this shit? And then like it's like no matter what, it's like no matter what they're doing, it's like what's that story with like the monkey's paw where like you have to be careful what you wish for, because like you'll wish that you'll be like.
I remember that
like,
from a movie. I don't
wish-
even remember the story
Yeah,
about.
I don't know, but it's like you wish that like if I may use like a crude joke, like you wish that like your dick will hit the ground and then like your legs fall off. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
like that. It's like Overwatch. They're like trying to save themselves by being heroes by doing whatever, and then they just end up like chopping their legs off, and then the community is like, what the fuck? So it's like everything they do just frustrates the community more and more. And the fact that the beta counting or not counting or whatever, like now it's counting, the fact that it wasn't properly communicated
Right.
is troubling to me, because it's like if they improperly communicated how you could get like a skin or something like that, I'd be like, oh whatever, people get over it. But like
Right.
this is like SR. It's like what the game like hinges on. You know what I mean? Like the fact that just nobody knew, and I think quite frankly it threw off like what the point of the whole beta was. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's like when you do like a fire drill, like you don't know what's a fire drill at first, right? You know, like supposedly, you know what I mean? Like when you're in school, but like when the teacher gives you the heads up, like here's gonna be a fire drill today, and there's a fire drill, people like slowly get up and they like waltz to the door. Like you're not actually like doing the proper drill. So when like the actual fire happens, like you're gonna be
Right.
screwed because you don't know like what the hell to do. So now like the actual season, now people have to like try. Like I don't know, like it's I feel like everything's gonna be skewed now. Like it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. Like personally, I still feel good about it, but I just feel weird about how everything was handled, how the player base handled it, how the developers handled it,
Right.
just everything. Like so, I think I don't know what the impact will be. I guess short answer, Dazzle. I don't know what the impact will be, other than I think it's just gonna create more frustration amongst the fan base.
Well,
No, I don't know.
I think it's, I mean, again, we're talking about Blizzard, who, as far as Overwatch goes, they don't really have a good track record of rectifying situations in the moment, right? They have a very bad track record of trying to, like, letting things go for a long time. You know,
They're slow.
Yeah, they're
really
slow.
slow.
Like I mean, how long did the Mercy meta go on? And people complained about that it went on for so long.
Or Junkrat.
Or Junkrat.
Junkrat was like
Right.
out of control. Like in what, like early season 6? Like he was like out of control. And
Right.
They gave it like a month, and they were like, maybe he needs a nerf, and they like
Right.
slowed down Tire like 10%, and people were like, whoa,
Yep.
can we like come on, like it's gotta be more than
It's-
that. And, like it just takes too
It's
long.
like-
Sorry, go ahead, Blood.
Yeah, go on. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's crazy how slow they are with this like balance
Yeah.
change. And they're like this giant. I mean, I'm sorry, they're a small indie company, right? That's like the whole meme around it. Is that like Blizzard's a
Yeah.
small company, or like, because I genuinely feel like with the speed of these balance changes, getting like one change that's like insignificant, like
Mhm.
every 2 months, I feel like they just have this poor guy in his cubicle, just one person with a computer powered by a fucking running gerbil, and he's like,
Pretty much.
God damn it, Jeremy! And they're like, "Ah!" He's like trying to fucking feverishly write code, and there's all errors and shit.
Right.
That's why you see like
Yeah.
all like
That's
people
actually,
freaking
Blood,
out
you know
whenever
what?
PTR comes out and the bugs don't get fixed.
Yeah, that's if I could just jump in there, like this game too, like the bugs that pop up now, every game faces like bugs and snags.
Right.
Like it's not like
But
I
they're not
can't
on
blame
top of
Overwatch
it.
for having them. But they're not on top of it, and like some of their bugs have been gnarly. Like the Hammond glitch shouldn't have happened in the first place, and the fact that
Yeah.
it went on for so long was
On
like,
Xbox.
abysmal. Like it was
On
like,
Xbox, and it
yeah.
wasn't on anything else. It was just on Xbox. How did they?
For
And you know,
whatever reason, for
yeah,
whatever reason,
right.
There
And
was-
it was
The
bizarre.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Diva
go ahead.
bug lasted for weeks.
right,
There was
right.
a bug on. I don't know if you guys remember. It was like recent. There was a bug on Diva.
Just
If
had
you
numerous
were
bugs.
to no, this is like a really like game-breaking, character-breaking bug. If you were looking forward and say you saw there was like a doorway, and say there was a Bastion shooting to the left of you, if your Matrix was touching like any part of the door, it would get cut off, and like
Mm.
your Matrix can only go so far, and it wouldn't work. So the
Right.
Bastion would just be able to shoot. It was
Right.
like literally
Wow.
game breaking. You couldn't do anything, and that was there for weeks. People complained about it, and then it got put on PTR. So then we had to wait even longer and longer,
Yeah,
and then it got
Yeah.
fixed.
right.
Like I'm waiting
Which
for
is
these
frustrating.
balance changes that are coming now, and these aren't even that significant. It's a Zarya nerf, which I mean, it doesn't make much sense because now it's just going to encourage more people to run double shield because Zarya's going to be worse than she already is,
Right.
even
Yeah.
though she's actually pretty good right now because she's super easy to play. And then they're nerfing Sim, but it's like, okay, it's still gonna be super strong. It's just
And they're not
stupid.
nerfing
They're
the
nerfing wrong
biggest
shit.
thing. Yeah, they're not nerfing the biggest problem, which is the fact that double shield is huge. But I don't think that. But here's the thing, and this is probably going to be a meta question, right? Because at this point, I don't think that double shield. I mean, right. I think it is a bad meta for a lot of people. People who play hit scan are hating this because they just basically shoot shields, right? That's all they do. But I do think
Yeah.
it forces people to try to play differently. People have to try to play like ball or flank or some sort of character or thing that allows you to go around the shield. People playing Doomfist. Doomfist is really good now. Sim obviously with the barriers and stuff like that. But so for me, it's a meta thing, right? This is just a meta, and I don't mind it. I think it's okay because you just have to play the game differently. But as far as nerfing the wrong things, I absolutely agree with you guys. I think that they're nerfing all the wrong things. I mean, they nerfed Loud. You can appreciate this. They nerfed Lucio because of goats, and then they kept him the same way, even though now what does he do? There's no speed, right? You basically have to stay on
speed
heels.
would be nice with double barrier, right?
Right,
It'd be
exactly,
nice.
'cause-
Like,
'cause
if-
you
if
could
we
dive.
If we could, yeah, no, speed's still so pathetic. Like amping it on speed, it's like, I don't know. It's just,
It's
it'd
like
be
pushing a
nice.
kid at the playground. Like it's like nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like the enemy team just kind of like takes 3 steps back and they're like, I don't know, they're like fine. But
I mean-
yeah, I think what's frustrating about this meta is that it just feels really like, just feels like a chore. You know what I mean? Like yeah, like you can play flank heroes and whatnot, but like this game has so many different maps that vary in so many different ways. There are just certain maps, certain points, like
Right.
Hanamura at point 1. Like where are you gonna flank? Like you know what I mean? Like
Right.
you have one
Or-
door to get through and the window.
Or
Like,
even
where am I
or even
supposed to
worse
get?
than
It's
that,
like-
Paris. Right? Paris
Yeah,
is
I
one of
mean,
those.
Paris,
Is another map where
Paris.
you could fly as Farah in the left hand side above the little roof
Yeah.
area, but besides that, there's
Yeah.
one area that you can enter, and that's it.
Paris will always amaze me because they fucked up on a map like Paris. It was called Eichenwald. I don't know if people remember, but when Eichenwald first came out, there was one choke point.
Right,
And that's
right.
all you could go through. And you
Yeah.
know what they did? They made a doorway that goes
Yep.
to the right, and bam, Eichenwald's a better map.
Yeah, that
You
was
know
it.
what they
And
do?
not only did
Paris,
they change that
again.
doorway, the third point to that gate. Remember that gate used to
Yeah,
what did they change about the gate? They did something with the,
The gate doesn't
where
shut.
it
the game.
the gate used to shut. Yeah. Or like
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And it only allowed
that
for
map
the
was so
two
bad.
funnels through the doorways, which was terrible. I mean,
But
Yeah,
Paris?
which is weird. I don't know why they haven't done that with Watchpoint Gibraltar. Like Watchpoint, the first checkpoint, the door closes and then you're stuck coming through. And albeit there's the two high ground doors,
yeah,
but like still, like I wish on Watchpoint they
Yeah,
would
you're
keep
right.
that door open. I don't know. Don't get me started
But,
on
like,
Watchpoint.
it's literally Paris has the exact same shitty map design as Eichenwald did. It's one choke point, it's a door to the left, and there's the little like roof you could fly over,
right.
and that's it. It's literally a copy paste of Eichenwald, but it's worse
Right.
now because it's the old Eichenwald, and it's just like people keep bitching about it, and like Blizzard's like, yeah, not gonna do anything. Fucking Jeremy's over there feverishly writing code for the Roll Q beta. Like, you can't do anything.
He's you.
Yeah.
You know
He's
what?
been
You
held at gunpoint.
you paint the picture like he's the guy from Office Space, and you know the Blizzard is just telling him like, listen, you're gonna have to
You-
do this and work late, and you're
You
only gonna
file
have a
on
gerbil.
TPS reports.
You're only gonna have a gerbil to work with. He's gonna be your computing power, and that's it. But you're right. I mean, they have
It does feel like that though.
yeah.
Like,
It really
feel
does.
Like they have like a really small dev team. Like I feel like when this game first came out, it was like a team of like I don't know, like let's say 50 people. You know what I mean? But now it feels like it's like 6. You know what I mean? It's like
And
it's like
The team has grown since then. It's like it's
Has-
crazy.
has it grown?
It's grown and then it shrunk a little bit, I think. But like still,
Okay,
it's
interesting.
it's insane how like people they could like take this PTR. No, here guys, Jeff Kaplan here. We just introduced this PTR, the public test realm. Give us your feedback on these balance changes. And then where everyone's like, oh, this sucks. We don't want this. Brig is OP. Like all this whatever. Like this character sucks. And
right.
you know what they do? It goes straight to live. They don't listen. A month later, it's a shitstorm. Oh, it's an Overwatch League. Wow, people don't like watching this. Let's change it now. That's how everything is.
Yeah, and I think that like we mentioned it, they're slow to change things, but I also think that I don't even know if it's that they're slow at just only that they're slow, is that they're also like really bad at listening to the community, because I feel like the community has really good alternatives and they also have really good things that they can contribute, but they don't listen to it until it's really like long. I mean, how long have people been saying, yeah, you should probably try the roll queue thing, it might fix a few problems, and it will, like, essentially, but I mean now it's I feel like it's way too
People-
late.
People have been pushing for roll queue for years now, actually, like literal years.
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
2 years later, roll queue comes out, and they're like, "Oh, maybe this was a good idea." And like,
Right.
even, like roll queue is still kind of like shit. Like, I don't like the fact that you can't like relinquish a roll. Like, let's say like you are on like damage and you play like shit. Why can't you like in the next round be like, "Hey, I will trade you this roll"? Like, why
Right.
can't you do that? Why can't you trade roles? Why is it that the Mercy player that like plays like shit on DPS and then's like, oh, I'm playing bad, I don't want to play DPS anymore. They can't switch with like the DPS support player, Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's, I don't know. When they released the roll queue information, and I was listening to the devs,
think-
and I
sorry.
heard talking about it. They did say something about that. Like they did say that they was going to be able to relinquish certain aspects throughout the match so that you can change your role, but I don't know how that. I don't know if they're eventually going to do that. They did say that they were going to. Loud, what were you gonna say?
I didn't mean to. Well, I just wanted to like real quickly. I think the biggest problem with it is that like how does your SR calculate from there, right? Because each role has its own individual SR. So if you take the loss, do you lose 25 on support and 25 on damage because you took the loss playing both roles? You know what I mean? And like I like or like it like let's say if you win that match, like just for a nice clean number, let's say you're to gain 20 SR. So if you play one role, you gain 20 SR. But if you relinquish that role, win the match, do you get 10 SR on DPS and then 10 SR on support, or what? Like what do you think, Blood? Like if you think that's a good idea, like how would the SR work out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a good question. How would you be able to change the SR? Like if you go into DPS, like if you change mid match to DPS, right, and you start doing well, and then change back to support, will you get the SR for the support, or like how would that work?
I
That
wonder, like it would have to be like it would have to be so for you to trade that role. Like let's say I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give DPS a shot. DPS much, let's go. And like if I wanted to trade off that role, like would I take an immediate like 10 SR hit? You know what I mean? And then I would get the win, and then I would just gain 20 SR, which would be a net gain of 10. I don't know. You know, like I don't know. Like I think that's probably why they don't want to do it, because I don't know how that would work. I mean, like there's people that make more money than I do that can probably figure it out, but I just don't know how that SR would work out.
Well, there's also people who make more money than you that haven't figured it out, because we have a whole team of developers who seem to not know or want to listen to any way of of fixing it, right? Because that I think that's been the whole problem most of the time, is that they have so many people who work on this, and then they don't they don't take into consideration. Roll would have fixed things a long time ago, and now it's kind of it did fix a few things, but it's almost like a little too late. Like people, like this beta barely has any players. I mean, you could tell, at least on console, you could tell just from top 500 that it's not a lot of people are playing. The queue times are insanely huge and it's more for you guys.
It looked really bad with when top 500 dropped, and it was like starting at like 35-50. It was like
Right.
But it's climbed up. To be honest, to give credit, like it has climbed up quite a bit. Like it back up to like. So go ahead, Blood.
No, I was just gonna add to what you said. It climbed out a lot higher than I thought it ever would.
Yeah, me too. In my mind, when it dropped at 35-50 on like each roll, give or take, I was like, it's gonna climb. Like in my mind, I had it pegged at like 38, maybe 38-50. But yeah, the fact that it might end up pretty close to GM on each roll, which is good. But at the same time, you look at it's a lot of the same people, because the SR, if you're a 4K player, and then you place on each roll, let's say you go 2 and 3, 3 and 2, whatever, you're pretty much going to place 4K on like each roll, instead of it being like, I don't know, like I kind of wish it didn't take your base SR and then just kind of like plunk you at that SR in each roll, and then like then figure it out as the games go on. But
Right.
I don't know. Like I like, maybe it'll be different for the actual season. Who knows? I mean, like, who knows how it's going to be for the actual season? Maybe we're going to see some big drops or big jumps. I don't know. I don't know at this point.
I agree. I don't know what it's going to be either, but I think that okay, so here's the question to kind of answer the question that you posed, is that what do you think it's going to be like? Because for a lot of people, we mentioned how people are playing off roles as well. Like, I've been playing DPS and I've been playing tank and stuff like that. And those SR for some people have been inflated, and for others have not, just depending on who it is. But, those people who are going to go into next season with those inflated SR, do you think, and this goes for both of you, do you guys think that eventually it will balance out with time, because those guys will eventually drop based on the fact that that's not their role, or what will happen? I mean, do you think that they will camp their SR?
It has to.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think it eventually will catch up to them. I think. I mean, if they're really
If they
that
play,
bad
right?
at that role,
I mean, if they
you don't
play,
think
right?
so,
Because
Blood?
that's the other
Uh,
thing. What do you think, Blood?
I I don't know about that. I think they're just gonna stagnate in like mid masters, like every other like garbage masters player that goes from like plat up does.
Mm-hmm.
Like they most like masters players that are like really bad, like you're no one else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are stuck in masters because they just win, like, and they win and lose enough games to where they just stay at like within like 100 or like 200 SR of like where they're normally at. Like they'll be like 37, 38
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. They just sit there. So I mean, I feel like those mercy players are gonna get games, or like what those whatever players, right?
Right.
It's not just mercy players playing what is it, like damage, even though that's like the easiest one to like put it on like them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like it's just they're not gonna fall down as hard as people think. They're gonna stagnate more and then just sit at one elo until they maybe get better.
Right. I feel like
think,
that accurately described me though. Why did I feel personally attacked there, Blood? Wow.
Uh-oh. He watches your streams. He knows.
Wow, Blood. I'm personally attacked. What were you gonna say, Loud?
I was just gonna say, I think I get what Blood's saying, and I agree that there are certain players that kind of
Right.
get stuck in like this like void of like just winning and losing, and they're just kind of like, like they got like initially boosted, and then they just happen to win and lose enough games where they just kind of float between like 4K and 3,800, give or take. But um, I think they float between that SR. They're able to stay afloat because they'll get boosted by a certain meta or character, and then like let's say there's someone that's a support player, they'll take those losses playing DPS, but then they'll get those wins back playing support, and that used to be under like one SR, but now
Right.
like they'll continue to take those losses as a damage player, but they'll be able to maintain that 50-50 kind of float as a support player. And I think now that we have the individual SR, I think we will see people drop in whatever role, because they won't be able to complement their SR with whatever their strong role is. If that makes
Mhm.
sense, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm pretty much where I had myself pegged. Like all my accounts, my supportings, all at like between 42 and 43, and my tankings between like 39 and 41. Kind of like where I had myself. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like for me personally as a player, I feel like I don't feel cheated. I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like I'm kind of right where I should be, and I was surprised my tank MMR was higher than my support MMR as far as based on like win loss. But that's because like the tank has like a more like influential output on the overall game. But now that I've like played enough games, like my tanking has kind of dropped to where I thought it should be, and my support has gone up to where I thought it should be. So again, for me, like my personal experience with RollQ has been an overall positive one as a support player. Still frustrated by the meta, but I think the system. I think in time, it's really only been 2 weeks. It's been a beta.
Right.
It's been weird. It's been funky. I get it, but I
And
do
tainted,
I
too.
think in time, I think.
Right, because
I
they
think-
people
I think
thought
I-
it was bad.
Yeah, I think in time, I think things will start to come out the wash, as they should. And that's just what I think. I mean, like what the fuck do I know? You know what I mean? Like who knows how the fuck it's gonna go? Like who knows?
I agree.
Like it's really like none of us like we can all shoot the shit about it, but none of us really know. So I'm overall like I'm happy with roll queue. Is it a perfect solution? No. Um, is it like exactly what I wanted? I mean, close to it, I guess. I don't know as far as like stopping like goats and stuff, and like
Right.
it's like Blood said, people have been asking for roll queue for a long time. Like I remember first hearing about roll queue in like early 2017. You know what I mean? Like as we were going into like season like 4 to like 5, I remember
Absolutely.
hearing people saying like roll queue might not be a bad idea for this game, but like it was like
Yeah.
blasphemy. Like nobody like people really didn't like the idea of it, and I never minded the idea of it. I don't know why. Just maybe that's just the support.
Right.
The support like I knew that like because people were like, well, the queue times are gonna suck, but like I find games pretty quick for the most part. I've had a couple queues that have gone like 10, 13 plus. It does suck that I can't play with some of my DPS buddies. Like I try to play with TJ sometimes. He's like a 43, 4400 DPS
Right.
player. We'll be trying to duo, and we'll be like in a 12-minute queue, and he'll be like, loud, I know you're streaming. I'll just bounce. And be like, yeah, I know that sucks. He'll like leave, and then I'll like solo queue support. And, like I'll find a game like 2 minutes, and I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, and that's the thing too.
So-
Like personally, for me, solo queuing this season, this beta season has been phenomenal, and it's because most of my games are a lot lower, like low masters and stuff like that. And for me, I have been getting way better queues. I can actually solo queue because before, when I solo queued, I would get 5 DPSs, maybe a tank, and I'd have to solo heal, and it would be extremely difficult because people at that elo don't really know how to run that. So it's hard. It was hard for me personally, but now I feel like it's been a lot better for people in support, And I think that, like you mentioned before, how role queue, a lot of people were asking for it early on in the early seasons. I think it would have corrected a lot of people's behavior as far as their role goes, because DPS is by far, I think, the most played role on Overwatch. I think it takes over most of the other role, right?
Sure.
So that's why the queues are so long for those people. But I think what the GOATS meta did was it forced people who were DPS to play tanks and to play support and to kind of venture out to different roles and get better at those things. And role queue, I think, would have done that a lot, if implemented earlier, would have done that a lot easier. And now we're at where we're now.
I think, Dazzle, the key word there that you just used, though, and again, this comes from the frustration of the player base, is the key word there is forced, right? Like, I
Right.
don't think DPS players like being forced to play Brig
Right.
or Zenyatta or Diva or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they wouldn't have minded it from time to time, but when you're a top-level player trying to maintain top-level SR, you're a DPS player, like, it's like you and I are Lucio mains, like, we love playing Lucio, but, like, when he sucks, we're not going to force him because we want to win.
Right.
So it's, like, the same thing with DPS players, like, they want to win, you know what I mean? So, like, we have, like, these Widow mains or, like,
Yeah,
Genji
they'll
mains
play
that,
into
like,
double
God, I can't wait to
shields.
play Genji tonight,
Right.
but they can't, they just can't, and that's got to be, they're, as you said, forced to play tank or support. And I think,
But is that a
that's-
bad thing? I mean, okay, so here's the question:
I
Is
think
that
it
a
is to be-
bad
I think it
thing?
is to be forced. I think it is to be forced to. Like, is it a bad thing that they fill or play those roles from time to time? No, I don't think so. But you have to remember, dude, that like these guys, like, they'll play like 6-8 hours a day. You know what I mean? And they're not like, that's a long time. That's a lot of Overwatch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a long, like, when was the last time you did something for 6 to 8 hours that you didn't enjoy doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
no one wants to do that for that long. Like, again, now and again, if Kefri, or I don't know, like Surefour, like if they streamed for like 6 hours, and out of those 6 hours they had to play tank or support for like an hour or two, would be a big deal. But the fact that they have to play those roles for like 5 out of the 6 hours, I guess
Yeah.
it's got to be frustrating. I would think. I don't know. I'm not those players. I'm not a DPS player. It's just a different mentality. You know what I mean? But like Goats was all characters that I could play, so I didn't mind Goats, right? Like, I'm sure with Blood too.
Right.
Like, Blood can play Diva, Blood can play Zarya. You know what I mean? Blood can play Lucio. I've seen him play Lucio. Like, Blood fit in Goats just fine. I can play Lucio. I can play Zen. I can play Zarya. I can play Reinhardt. I fit in just fine in Goats. You know what I mean? But like, I
Right.
get it. Like, I get why Mei players or Genji players or Tracer players, I get why they'd be frustrated by it, because they had to do it again at the top level. They had to do it all the time. You know
But
what I mean?
isn't that what isn't that what you go into the game like assuming, is that it's not like Call of Duty where there's no like everybody has the same type of skill set, in the sense that you all have a gun and you're shooting at the other person, right? Nobody has abilities, or, well, I mean, some people have abilities and stuff like that depending on the game, but what I'm saying is, like, overall, right, people just shoot each other and that's it. So what about this game is that people have abilities, and the meta changes, and we have bunker, and then we'll have dive, and then we'll have goats, and all those different things happen, and people kind of have to adjust, and you can't just be a hit scan player, right? You have to change to a different DPS. Blood, let me ask you that. What do you think about that type of just idea of, like, I mean, I know for the most part you play Diva a lot,
Yeah.
right? But for you, you know, is it the type of thing where if Diva is not in meta, which to be honest, there's been a long time since she hasn't been in meta, but for you, what do you think should be the mentality for people who, you know, one trick and their one trick is not in meta anymore?
Right. I don't know. Like, I'll switch roles, right? It doesn't really matter. Like, I could play like Sigma and like Zarya or whatever. So like, I'm not really ever in too bad of shape. It just gets boring having to play like against two barriers. Like the real winners of like this whole like meta right now is like support players, because like support players they don't really like have too much issue, or like their characters
Right.
aren't too shit, like all of them. But they're all like okay, except for Zen. Zen's really fucking bad. Zen is
Yeah.
garbage. But like if you're playing tank, you play two tanks. You could play either Orisa or Sigma. You're playing DPS, you have like 4 very easy DPS to play. That's like it. But it's like, I don't know. Being forced into the role isn't too bad, but it's like if you have to do it every single game and you can't really, there's no real like escape from it. It kind of just gets really monotonous and
I think that's the thing.
boring.
Yeah, I think it's the game in, game out. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know. It's I just wish, I don't know. I just wish that other characters were like viable, like, but you know they're not, and you know we have this meta and we're stuck with it, and it's just, I don't know. It just feels like a unfun, feels like an unfun meta. You know, I mean, everybody
But
always
not-
talks about dive, right? Like,
That everybody misses dive, but in all honesty, like I think the majority of the people who are lower ranks, like which are the majority of the people who play this game, people who are gold, platinum, diamond, those are the majority of the players in general. You know, those guys could never really play dive effectively. Dive took a lot of coordination and a lot of like common
Yep.
communication and
Oh,
stuff
for
like
sure.
that. And at the top level, that's really fun because you can do that effectively. But at the bottom level, it didn't help them because they were like dive is meta, and really we don't benefit out of it. Like we if we run it, it'll be half-assed because we're not very good at it.
Well, right. That's the thing, though. Like dive was like reserved for like super like high ranks, like higher ranks, and like people down in like under like masters, or even like people in diamond, like they kind of had a little bit of a grasp on it, but like once you get under there, people have no idea what it is at all. So they just ran other comps. Like Diva was bad down there, like Winston was bad, and so they would just like run like other comps like Ryan Zarya, or like I don't know, Ryan Diva, or like I don't know, just like stupid stuff. And it's just like it was different meta, it was layered.
Right. Now, chat has a good point, and they're mentioning how, you know, they're giving a lot more high-skilled heroes a nerf, and bringing in low skill ceiling like heroes boosts. Like they're giving them those boosts. Do you think that that's part of the game where they're trying to balance it out for, especially for lower elo players, where, you know, this character's easy to run, I'm gonna play this and it's meta, wow, that's really cool, you know, as opposed to somebody like a character like Genji, who is now less viable than he was before, but more high skilled. Like, do you think high skilled characters are taking a bigger blow from this?
Oh yeah, for sure.
oh,
Like-
absolutely.
There has been a it's not like a huge decline, but it's just been like every meta, it just like gets like notched down just a little bit more with the skill. Like you had, what was the you had like Beyblade. Well, Beyblade was like, we'll start with like dive. Like you had dive, and that's like peak communication, right? That's two tanks coordinating with each other the whole time, with their DPS, with the supports. The supports
Healers
having to
healing
like
for each
try
other.
to stay alive, and then you
Yeah,
had
they-
both the DPS, which the two best DPS for Genji and Tracer, and those are probably like the highest skill DPS in the game. Like those characters, there's nothing like really gets harder than that unless you play Widow, but Widow's just aim. Like Genji and Tracer is like aim and movement. So it's like you get to that point and then like you move down from dive. What was after dive? Grab dragon, right?
Right.
So that knocked it down a little bit. He still had Ryan Zarya, which was kind of like which was a little bit like it still has skill involved in it,
Right.
or like whatever. It was still like fun. And then you had Hanzo, which Hanzo got like that mega buff, so he wasn't as skillful, but he still like, kind of took skill to be good at. And you had like Zen Mercy or whatever. And then after that, you go goats, right? You see a big decline in mechanical skill, but you see a huge incline in teammate, like team coordination.
Right.
So like
on
you're playing
management
you're
awareness.
playing that. Yeah, you're playing that, and it's not so much mechanics anymore. It's more of just how well a team plays together. And then after that, you have Orisa Hog, which that's when it really starts to go down. And Orisa Hog, all it is, the entire meta is just hook, pull,
Right.
pull, hook,
Orisa
whatever,
Hog,
hook, pull.
hook, yeah.
Bastion, Baptiste, right? Like Baptiste came out, and then it was
Yeah,
all
it
about
just, like-
yeah, sitting behind the shield with the Bastion. And for a while there, it was protect the president, and then Bastion kind of, I don't know, like it stopped kind of being about the Bastion, and it became more about the Hog Orisa. So,
Right.
But yeah, Hog Orisa's, I don't know. It's like I said earlier. It's like every time Blizzard tried to nerf the previous meta, they just, inadvertently introduced a less interesting one or a more frustrating one. So yeah, I definitely agree with Blood's like digression model there. Like that's pretty much how it's been.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
I agree.
I wouldn't mind. I would like to see. I'd like to see Dive come back. It's been so long, right? Like Dive was the shit in like season 1, and then it kind of went away for a bit with like Triple Tank and Beyblade and stuff, and then it like came back. Now it's like gone again. So I'm wondering if it'll come back, but Genji's so bad in this meta. Like Genji's so irrelevant, with like sim lasers and double barriers and like fortifies and stuns. Like poor Genji, man. Genji's a tough pick right now.
It
Yeah,
just
it
feels
is.
like it just feels like you get more punished for playing the more mechanically inclined characters, and you get more rewarded for playing like the less mechanically inclined characters and just playing stuns. So it's like,
But
I
there
don't
should
know.
be a balance, right? Because
Like-
I do feel like there is
yeah, obviously.
there should be an
Yeah.
area for people who can play like these characters with a low skill ceiling and have fun because they're not mechanically inclined. Like they rather have play those characters. So there should be some area for those players to go in, but obviously, that's part of it. Okay, so let's move on to something different because I want to talk about now that we have kind of established the beta queue, it's coming to a close, and next season is going to be coming around. And we've already established the meta within this beta queue. We have Sigma, who was introduced, and now we have double shields and stuff like that. What have you guys seen within rank that either counters the meta or is it just people having to play double shield against double shield, or have you seen something that allows people to play against it and counter it? What characters do you think are good and bad right now? Let's go with you, Blood does first. Let's talk about that.
Like winners and losers.
Yeah.
Obviously, the winners are like shield characters. A lot of times when you play against like the double shield, people are just like, "Yeah, just run it." I know I'm like that. Like I could play against it like on Diva or like Zarya. Actually, you can't really play Zarya against it. It's ass. But like you kind of play Diva against it. But like I'll oftentimes I'm just like whatever. I'd rather just play the meta and not like have to try super hard when I could just like kind of just chill and get the same value.
Right.
Or like other losers is like Hog. Hog is useless. Like Orisa Hog sucks because you can't get a pull because it's 2 shields you have to work through.
Right.
DPS, Sombra's like iffy. Like you could see Sombra do something sometimes, but then like other times she can't really do shit because like
I think
depends on
Sombra's
how
map
like she's
dependent.
looked at. Yeah.
Like I think she's still really strong 2 CP. I think she's really good for taking that second point on say like Anubis or something. But she's not like she's I don't know. I like the changes they made to her. I think they did balance her out. She's still annoying, but the hack 1 second reduction. 1 second doesn't feel like or doesn't sound like a lot, but like I notice it in game. I notice it in game
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I've seen people run like ball Doomfist against it, like double shield. And that's been pretty effective.
Yeah.
Depends on how good the ball Doom is. What else? Obviously, you see people run like Mei, and Mei is like super good now.
Right.
Sim, like that's like the biggest one you see is like Sim against that, and Sim just shreds the barriers.
Right.
400 health teleporter, by the way. Oh my god. So much.
But like,
Right.
other than that, it gets to be there's only a few characters you're able to play. It's kind of like how Goats was. Like, you can only play a few characters.
Right. And I mean, here's my question then. You know, we have this at its most basic terms. You know, you have the double shields, and it allows people to just keep a barrier for long distance stuff. Do you think that brawly characters are, you know, obviously you mentioned Doomfist is really good, Sim's really good. Sim, I feel like Sim is one of those characters has to go up close. Do you think this meta is countered by characters that are brawly? You know, does Brigitte fit into this? Is there like a way where Ryan Zarya can fit in because they kind of just walk in as opposed to like getting people from afar? How else do you think, you know, obviously Hammond you mentioned as well counters it. What do you think, what are some of the changes you think can be made so that this meta is not necessarily completely dominant but can also be countered effectively at any elo?
Well, I mean, there's only like one change I could see that would make it like a lot better is like reverting the Lucio nerfs.
Okay, so that
If
way
they were
that way you get speed
Yeah.
boost and go in and
like I don't know, I don't remember how much of a reduction it was. Maybe the Lucio mains
30.
here
It was.
can tell me.
Was it 30%?
Yeah.
It was big. It was a big
Yeah.
reduction. I think it was like
Huge.
30,
Yeah, it's like-
33%. It was
Mhm.
Yeah, because it was like I know speed amp. It was like from like 50 to 30 or whatever. Because like I think when you normally amped, like I don't know, when you were normally in speed, it was 50%, and then I think they took it down to 30, because when you amped, it would put you to 70. Because I remember it used to be 100, and they knocked that down a long time ago with like Beyblade.
Yeah, his base speed I believe went untouched. I think it was just the amp that got
Yeah.
reduced. I
the amp.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I
Yeah,
mean it
his
really
base
killed
speed is-
it really killed his speed. Like
Did his base really get untouched? I thought his base didn't get. I thought his base got touched. Like both
No,
got
I-
like messed with.
No, I'm pretty sure.
I think
mean,
it was
have to go
just
back and
amp.
look. There's been so many changes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was just amp. I'm pretty sure.
Look it up.
Yeah, I think
Fair.
it was amp as well. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it might have been. I don't know if anybody in chat remembers what the exact changes were.
I believe they left base. They nerfed amp, and then they like did something to his wall riding. It's like he like.
Oh, but that was a buff, I
Red
think. Yeah,
faster. He, like,
but it was useless. It was pointless because you got more speed the more you rode on a wall. But people don't really like people who play Lucio for a long time. They don't really play Lucio like that. You don't stay on a wall for very long. You kind of just jump on
You
the
hop
wall.
off it.
Yeah, you hop off
Yeah,
and on.
certain
Get your
points.
little.
Yeah. So that buff
Very-
just
there are
seemed
very few
pointless.
points.
Yeah, it seemed pointless. So obviously so what I'm hearing, and I'm very happy to hear it, is that you think Lucio's the answer to this meta, is if they buff Lucio a little bit more, or at least revert the changes that they made, right? Go back to the Lucio that was in Goats. You know, that Lucio might be able to allow teams to kind of walk in and do some damage, while still not being able to make it overpowered, right? I mean, I think I do think I like that. I definitely think it would help. Well, listen, we're coming at the end of the show. It's wrapping up on an hour. I think that we've talked about a lot of things, and we talked about beta roll queue and our thoughts on it and how we see the direction that is going in. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and adding on to this new format
sure.
that I have. I think we'll
My
do
bad
this more
for
often.
Being late. Yeah,
It's
absolutely. It's my second time. It's my second time on being off the wall. Like, it's an honor. Like I I love what you
Mhm.
do, man. You know,
Absolutely.
I think it's great. I think it's a really cool. I think it's a really cool format. It's like you and I had talked the first time I was on the show, Dazzle. How I love just talking, and I want to be in like sports radio, and
Oh
obviously I'm not
yeah.
in sports radio, but
Right.
if I can do off the wall talking about Overwatch with Blood and Dazzle, that's a pretty close second in my book. So happy to be
Right.
here, man.
But
I'm glad that you chose me. I appreciate it.
no problem. And by the way, you say that, but it looks like you have everything you need to make a hockey museum behind you. So you're getting ready
Oh,
to
dude.
do that.
I've been such a lazy schmuck. I've been meaning to rearrange my basement and change up my camera, like what's behind me, like what you see
Right.
behind me. I'm gonna spruce up my background a little bit. But then my basement, we have like this ant infestation going down, and our house got fumigated. I had to evacuate my house for 7 hours yesterday. So I have a bunch of stuff like pulled out right now, and I got to put stuff back together. It was part of the reason why I was so slow getting on, because I had like my laptop, and my computer. I had to like pull it away from the
Ah.
wall for the dude to like fumigate the line. Like, don't get me started. But I did. I built a new like closet rack thing where I'm gonna hang up all my jerseys. So this is like a little preview. It's gonna be a lot more cleaned up in the next few days, but
Right.
yeah, no, I love sports. I was talking about sports in Blood's chat last night. And I think he was ready to like unmod me and ban me from his chat for like the duration of the night.
I
Blood,
stopped paying attention after a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I don't
Blood's
know.
so good
Once he
about
started
keeping up
talking
with
about
chat.
golf,
Oh my God, Blood is so good. He's so good about keeping up with chat. I don't know how he does it, but he ignored chat for there was like it was like a black hole for like chat was just a black hole to Blood for like 10 minutes
once he
last night.
started
'Cause
talking about golf, I was like, yeah, you guys have fun.
me, Frost, and Spider, dude, we're just going to town on the sports trivia. It was awesome. Blood was unamused, but whatever.
Oh man, perfect.
Chat's
Well,
chat, right?
yeah, exactly. Chat will be chat. Well, listen, this is the type of format that I think allows and extends itself to having more recurring guests because it's more topical and about things going on in the community and stuff like that. Obviously, I'll try to reach out more to other stuff. I know the fighting game community also wants to do some stuff that like this as well, so I'm gonna reach out to them as well. And we'll always have console Overwatch on here, and we'll talk about Overwatch stuff. And I look forward to the next pressing matter that happens and having you get guys on again. So until then, for sure. Thank you, Blood. Thank you, Loud, so much. If you guys have anything to promote, obviously your Twitches and everything, if and stuff like that, go ahead and do that now.
Twitch.tv/blooddust_OW.
There you go.
Oh, loud. Oh,
Aw.
I guess I should be like, I'm so nervous now. I'm like put in the spot. I have to like try to promote like loud here. Like,
Right.
I'm sure
So-
everyone here like knows, but yeah, twitch.tv/ not much. Yeah,
Oh, there it is.
There
we
it
go.
is.
there it is.
By the way,
But,
before we leave, Blood, when are we gonna
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the Diva
yeah.
cosplay? People have always been asking about it. I get questions about it. Even every time you're on the show, people are like, "Is he gonna webcam this time? What's gonna happen?" So,
The more you
What's
get
the
asked about it, the
update?
less likely he is to do it.
what's the update
So,
on the
what
Diva
Loud said.
cosplay? What was that?
There hasn't been an update in months, and like the website I tried, like when I tried ordering it at first, like it declined my card. My card got shut down for like a few days, so I like been avoiding it because like all the websites I go to are like out of US, so I have to like go through like some thing from like Japan or whatever. But I don't know. It will eventually come, I think. I'm wishing for it. But it's still to be announced kind of thing. I don't
Gotcha.
know. And then I have to find a time to do it. Maybe I'll premiere face reveal cosplay on Off the Wall. You don't know.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
Always
Wait,
down
I
to
don't
do
know.
that.
Tease.
Always down to
tease.
do that for sure. All right.
You gotta have him back now.
Hell yeah,
know.
of course.
But
Absolutely.
but yeah, we'll see. It's an ongoing thing that's been like put on the back burner for now.
Nice. Well, listen, I'm always down to have
should
that.
also tease-
We'll. Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Tease.
Should
Tease
also-
away.
Should also
Breaking.
tease. I've been in the talks with Loud, right?
Ah.
And he, along with me, might do a duo cosplay, maybe.
That's
where you
right. That's
cosplay
right.
as Lucio.
Oh,
with, like,
nice.
The dreads.
Yo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I want to
I'll
see
tell
that.
you what, dude. Halloween's just around the corner. There's gonna be a bunch of
Oh,
costume
no.
shops popping up, dude. I think there's gotta be Diva and Lucio, like Halloween
Yes.
stuff out there somewhere. Like,
Absolutely.
like-
Oh God, I'll have to look. I'll have to look.
like
Absolutely.
if that's what it takes, Blood, I'll do it, dude. I'll fire up a Lucio cosplay if Blood fires up the Diva cosplay.
Listen, if
I
you
know
guys
people
get
want
it, if you guys get it in time, and we do like a Halloween episode or something when you guys can debut it,
Oh
who
God.
knows? Who knows? We can do it.
Imagine, dude. Imagine.
It'll be fun, dude.
But,
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, listen, it's awesome to have you. We're gonna have you back again because I think topical
Please do.
stuff. We're gonna have you back, and we'll talk a lot more stuff. And then until then, keep if you want to updates on Off the Wall, twitter.com/dazzle167. Obviously the Twitch, hit the bell notification so you can get all the updates on when it goes live and stuff like that. And then until then, we'll have more updates on the different guests that are going to be appearing on the show. And let me know if you want to be on the show. If you have something to say, please DM me. I definitely am always open to at least hearing people in the community out to see if you guys want to talk about something, especially if it's interesting. So let me know, and we'll see if we could get you on the show. And until then, the show is brought to you by Dash Threads, Rogue Energy, Regen, and of course Console Gaming League. And guys, we are going to go ahead and raid somebody. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.
Later, boys. Later, boys.
Inside.